All right, good morning, everyone. We will be getting started in a minute. We're just going to let everyone roll on in, make sure everyone can get everything set up and joined perfectly fine before we kick things off. All right, well, it looks like we have got everyone joined in. We are really excited to have you all here this morning and joining us for our December installment of our Outdoor Florida webinar series. Today, we're going to be highlighting two of our trail towns and talking about the Trail Town program overall and how you could possibly replicate their success in your city or your community. Today, we're going to have 5 different presenters or 6 different presenters. We're going to have Jerry Mays, who is the Economic Development and Ecological Tourism Sustainability Manager for the City of Deltona. He's worked for the City of Deltona for the past 11 years. And joining him, we have Lee Lopez, and Lee took his 3 decades worth of experience in the video industry to really try and ensure that Deltona's natural beauty gains the recognition not just locally, but regionally and nationally, and even internationally. Presenting for a second trail town is going to be Patty Huff from Everglades City. Patty was instrumental in the pursuit of Everglades City, gaining the recognition of being a trail town, and has since been at the front of many projects, which I know they will be discussing today. Next from Everglades City, we also have Dana Fendrick, who is a landscape architect and land planner. Dana has served on the board of multiple organizations and, along with other community members, formed the Everglades City Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Committee in 2019. And last but certainly not least, for the city of the Everglades City, we have Kathy Brock. Kathy is currently the president of the Everglades Society for Historic Preservation and active in many other organizations. Kathy, in her time, also serves as a member of the Collier Trust Development Council and is the owner and publisher of The Mullet Wrapper, which is an Everglades area newspaper. She's also a publisher on visitevergladescity.com and Visit Chokolowski, I can never pronounce that correctly, .com. So to kick things off, we're going to go ahead and be hearing from Jerry and Lee from City of Deltona, and we're going to see their Trail Town video. So we're going to get that pulled up.
Michaela, are you getting sound out of the video?
Oh, seems like we are having a small problem with sound, so I will go ahead and see if I can fix that real quick. Sorry about that, everyone. All right. Should have that all fixed up.
In 2017, the City of Deltona applied with the state to receive a designation of Trail Town and for our Lakeshore Center to become a trailhead. Deltona is the nexus for a series of world-class trails. The state's Coast to Coast Trail, the state's East Coast Regional Rail Trail, the St. Johns River to Sea Loop Trail, Volusia County's Spring to Spring Trail, and the City of Deltona's Lakeshore Loop Trail.
We're at the DeBary Sunrail station. Sunrail runs all the way from Orlando up to DeBary. You can bring your bicycle with you, and it's a great jumping off point to use the trail system here in Southwest Volusia.
With the Lakeshore Center now a trailhead, neighboring Thornby Park began to see improvements as well. The park received a new mulched trail, an outdoor classroom, a boardwalk, a bridge. All of these are ADA friendly.
Well, Jerry, what do you think about this?
Well, it looks like a limb off that oak tree right there's falling over.
Yeah, well, and nice seat here too.
Yeah.
Nice place to sit down here. These are kind of interesting. They, you know, we leave them here in the forest. We don't take them out. Used to always clean these things up, but they've become new habitat, whole new life for this oak tree.
With those improvements, Thornby Park now has a designation as a Birdability Nature Viewing Area by the Audubon Society. With the Trail Town designation, the western boundary for Deltona is Thornby Park. Several miles down, the eastern boundary is Audubon Park. Both of the parks are located on the multi-use trail. Future plans for the trailhead area include an eco-village that could include campsites, cabins, tree houses, restaurants, kayak and canoe landings, and a bicycle shop as well. Lake Monroe, which fronts the Lakeshore Center, also is being explored as a Blue Ways trail. The City of Deltona is currently expanding its Blue Ways trails in the interior of the city, along the Lake Butler chain of lakes. So, from the City of Deltona, please accept our invitation to join us on our series of world-class trails.
All right, so that was the video for the Deltona Trail Town. And now we're going to kind of go into a little bit of a Q&A section with the City of Deltona. If anybody has any questions after that video, we're going to go ahead and open the floor now to that. I know that there was a lot of really great information and definitely made me want to take a weekend trip to the City of Deltona. So you can go ahead and put any questions that you might have in the chat box, or you can just alert us and we will unmute you and allow you to ask your question. All right, well, people are getting ready to ask their questions. I know that I have a couple of questions. I kind of want to focus on the fact that I know for the City of Deltona, ecotourism is really important for your city. And I wanted to kind of ask about how being a trail town and all of your trails and blueways and greenways kind of fit into the bigger scheme of ecotourism being really important and how it helps kind of promote your ecotourism initiative.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Okay. For Deltona, tourism was sort of a natural choice. I mean, we're equidistant between the world's most famous beach, NASCAR, Daytona Beach area, and Orlando, the #1 tourist destination in the world. So same distances, both directions. So for us, it was almost a natural choice that we would somehow enter the tourism industry. We just didn't know what we were going to do. The trails, which were the state, the county, local entities and municipalities all came together to develop these world-class trails. And when I say world-class, I truly mean that, because I've seen the books, the trail books from the Netherlands and Germany, which show our trails in their books for people to come to the United States. So we looked at it and say, okay, the trails are the first thing that we will utilize. They're there now. So we went after, we put together our application for the Trail Town. While we were doing that, we also discovered that, okay, there's a trailhead designation. So we made application for both. worked hard on the application. It was not easy, put it together, and we were awarded that at Silver Springs. And that picture with the group, me holding the big shield, as we call it, okay, was our celebration item on that. But for us, the ecotourism of the trails was obvious. We took that, and Lee had an idea on how to designate certain areas within the city, land that the city owned, and we started to develop nature viewing parks, low impact walking parks with observation points. Most of them have water features, so we get different types of natures, particularly birds. Our partner in a lot of this is the Audubon Society. We have a formal MOU signed with them. And Florida Wildlife Commission has been a great deal of assistance. And again, always going back to greenways and trails, where we started. Right now, we have roughly 10 miles of nature trails within the city, also within our parks. And we have one Blue Ways Trail that is still in development. We already have 3 landings and designations and such as that. And that's 25 miles of kayaking, canoeing trail. Trails are trails, whether it's a nature trail in a nature viewing park, a Blue Ways Trail, or the multi-use trails. So we're making the best use we can out of all of them.
Awesome. And as far as, because I know this is a really important question that anyone has whenever it comes to trails or recognition or anything like that, is funding. I know that that can be really important. So one of the questions in our chat is about, as far as the funding goes for your boardwalk and ADA friendly components, how did you go about getting that funding, and where exactly did that funding come from?
A large part of the funding for the trails itself came from the state. There were large grants, block grants that we had to apply. Well, actually, the county applied for, the state had them. I would imagine a lot of the money came from the federal government. So this was the development of the large trails. Now, Volusia County is somewhat unique. We have a program here called ECHO, E-C-H-O. The people of Volusia County decided that trails and ecological parks and all this type of thing were important enough that they were willing to tax themselves to support that. The first one went in. It was extremely successful. People loved it. It passed with about a 60-65% vote. It sunsetted, and it had to come back up again as to whether or not we would continue to support ECHO with our tax money. And this, when it came back up, was during in reality, we were still in the early stages of COVID. Things were not going well at that time. People were scared. People voted overwhelmingly, well over 70, almost 80%. Yes, keep ECHO. So a lot of the funds used for these projects come from outside agencies, from the state, but we also contribute lots of funds ourselves. ECHO is a 50-50. So if ECHO puts up 50%, then the city has to put up 50%, or the county has to put up 50% because they too can use ECHO. So we're somewhat unique in that line, and it's been very, very gratifying that we've been able to do a lot with that.
Absolutely. And can you just, for people who might not be aware or from the area, can you just clarify what ECHO is?
Let's see. Ecological, historical, cultural, and help me on that, Lee. What's the O for?
The ecological part of it, I remember that. That's easy. The same with the historical.
I'd had to look up ECHO on the O. Hey, it's outdoors. Okay, there we go. Somebody will call me up on that one.
All right. And is it like a program? Is it an initiative? Is it just what you've given the name for the kind of tax that you've initiated in the area? just so people can kind of take that, because like you said, that's very unique to your area, and it's been really helpful for the promotion of your trails and gaining that international recognition. So I'm sure a lot of people would be very interested in how they can replicate that.
It's more like a funding program. Like Jerry was saying, it's funded by taxpayers. It's a taxpayer-supported initiative, putting aside so much money, and then that money is then applied when a city has a program. Like I said, with us, it was improving Thornby Park. So we were able to essentially, make application with the county. This is what we would like to do with this money. And like Jerry said, it's a matching type of a grant. However much it costs, I'm just gonna throw a number out there. Say it costs $34,000 to do all the improvements to Thornby Park, the boardwalk, the trails, the outdoor classroom. The city would come up with half of that, $17,000, and the county would match the other $17,000. So it defrayed a lot of the cost, and that way the city and the county are both able to benefit from. Now we have a nature park that has become a destination because now it's accessible. There is actually different parts to the park that people would want to see, and it can be used a number of different ways with the outdoor classroom, because before we did that, there were no facilities that could actually accommodate a large group. And now that we have that, so I said it increased the usability of the park, and it furthered the partnership the city has with the county for this area, for this nature park.
Absolutely. And I know that it's really amazing, the recognition that you've gotten for your trails, but have you found that having the recognition of being a trail town and really focusing on ecotourism has, as an economic development manager, have you found that it's really pushed, when you're surrounded by a different kind of tourism, it's really pushed your city in a different direction and really helped with economic development?
Yes, it has. We used it to start with as also as a rebranding of the city. The idea is that you only protect what you value. So with that as the tagline that we always looked at for this development, again, we have recruited in Amazon, a new hospital, lots of large industry has come into the city. For it to come in, you have to clear areas. Okay, we realize that, but we also preserve green areas, okay, so that people can go there and enjoy that and not be nature deprivated, because it's proven medically. Okay, I've got the doctor's statements and everything. Yes, people who go out and walk a nature trail, it calms them down. It's good for them, heart rate, blood pressure, etc. So that was always a big thing that we looked at. And we always wanted to be able to promote that, yes, these are the reasons for it. We always use what we call the shield, which is the Greenways and Trails awarded shield that we have. We use the stickers on businesses close to or in the trailhead area. To make people welcome. We use it on our signage, directional signage. We use it on our websites. People can go to floridaecoparks.com, which is our website set up just for ecological tourism, okay, specific to that. And that for us in the economic development side with the trails, okay, is a large part of the quality of life that we use when we sell the city to someone who's looking to open a business in the city, or to people who say, okay, we want to move to Deltona. What's there? Well, go to this website, find out.
Absolutely. That is really, really amazing. And I love the highlight of the fact that being a trail town doesn't mean foregoing economic development, but like you said, it's focusing on what you value. So that's really great information. Are there any other questions that we have for the city of Deltona while they're here? And we'll come back around, and if anyone has any questions that they think out throughout the webinar, we'll have a period for question and answers at the end as well. So right now, are there any other questions for Jerry and Lee? All right, so if not, we are going to keep moving on. Thank you, Jerry and Lee, for all of that really great and educational information. I know all of your success is going to really take the city of Deltona far, and I'm sure everyone here is going to take bits and pieces and hopefully implement it in their communities. One last question. Was there any consideration to use entry fees to the trails to fund them as opposed to a local tax?
I don't think we really did consider that, because one of the nice things and one of the attractions, I guess you'd say, to the trails and the nature parks is the fact it's free. You know, so there is no economic burden, well, not burden, but you can see them whenever you want to, you know, and there's no cost to it, because really you don't want to put a price on nature that much. You know, it's like, it's there, you know, to be enjoyed.
Absolutely. All right. So like I said, we're going to move right along, and we are going to have the ladies from Everglades City kind of tell us what they've been working on there and how being a trail town has affected their community. So I will pass it off to Patty, Kathy, and Dana from Everglades City.
Thank you very much. Is our presentation up on the screen?
Did you share screen?
Let me see. Maybe it's not. Let me pull up our presentation. And okay, now can everybody see it? Okay, well, I'm Patty, and thank you very much for inviting us to give a presentation to you today. We're very excited about the Trail Town, very impressed with Deltona. I want to go spend some time up there. Gave us some ideas about our Trail Town. So I think this is great to have a webinar where we can share our ideas and our experiences. And that's what we'd like to do, to tell you a little bit how we got started as a trail town and where we're going from here. Everglades City was established in 1923, and I actually learned about the trail towns when Dunedin was listed as a trail town back in, I think it was January of 2018. And then I attended an OGT meeting where several of the other trail towns, it was in, I believe in Titusville. And so hopefully everything will go right here. That in Titusville, I heard Titusville, Malabar, Volcano Beach, and Claremont present their trail town to the OGT. And after every presentation, I kept thinking, wait, we have that. We have those amenities. We have that. And so I got so excited about it. I talked to Katie, and I went back and talked to our city and talked to Dana and Kathy, and we decided to establish a Trail Town committee. And actually the meeting I attended was in September of 2018. And by January of 2019, we were giving our presentation at Silver Springs to the OGT. And we did have the backing of our support of our city. So this is showing the map of all the trail towns that are listed. And we are the only ones in Southwest Florida, and basically the only one south of Lake Okeechobee. So again, I was trying to put South Florida on the map, and we were just so thrilled that we were chosen and designated as a trail town. That meant a lot to us. So we just moved right ahead from there, because we had experienced Hurricane Irma in September of 2017. So we had only been a year trying to rebuild the city. And to give you a background, Everglades City, as I said, was established in 1923 by Baron Collier. He came to the area to hunt and to fish. He came as a tourist, and he fell in love with the area. So he bought Everglades, the town of Everglades, from the Storter family, and built the city with all the amenities of a large city. We had a school, we had a hospital, we had a movie theater, we had a bank, the only bank, and he made Everglades City the seat, the county seat for Collier County when it was named a county. So we were we had everything here. 100 years ago, they had everything that everybody needed, and it was a company town with its own company money. These are some of the buildings that are still standing today that Baron Collier built. We have on the City Hall, which is the original county courthouse. We have the Bank of the Everglades building, which I said was the only bank in Collier County for many years. The pink building is the laundry that was made into the Museum of the Everglades, and then the historic Rod and Gun Club. And that goes back to the 1800s when the Allen family and the Storter family had it. So we had the history and we have the culture, and now we have to see why we felt like we were a trail town. Everglades City has always been kind of the central hub for all the state and national parks in Southwest Florida. We have Collier Seminole, we have the Fakahatchee, 10,000 Islands, Everglades National Park. And so this is the one place where people would go and stay to spend their time out into the various parks. We also have the Waterway Trail from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas that goes from Everglades City down to Flamingo. So this starts right in Everglades City at the Everglades National Park Gulf Coast Visitor Center. And there's some of my friends that are just kayaking in Big Cypress. We have several blueways and waterways throughout the area. So Everglades City is again in the central part of all these of access to the waterways in the 10,000 islands. Our opportunities for biking and hiking and everything, this is both on-road and off-road. We have great off-road bicycling in the Fakahatchee, Big Cypress, Collier Seminole, and those are the main ones. Oh, and the 10,000 Islands Refuge too. You can also do off-road biking. And I had a tour just last Saturday of a group of people that we went through the James Scenic Drive in the Fakahatchee. And then on-road cycling, we have Everglades City to Chokoloskee is our shortest route. It's about 10 miles. My husband and I do that almost daily. And then we also have riding going up to Immokalee, Ave Maria, over to Port of the Islands, and then over into some of the Big Cypress areas. And then so we have cycling both in town and just out of town. And we have cyclists that come from all over. Last weekend, I was with the group from Fakahatchee, and we ran into another group of cyclists. I think there were about 40 of them from Fort Myers Beach that were just here just to cycle around town. And our hiking opportunities, again, around the boardwalk and the Fakahatchee. You can do the swamp walks, get wet, do the wet walks or the dry walks. And again, in all of the parks around this area, they're great hiking opportunities. And we have a lot of the amenities. The amenities that we have are the restaurants. We have 5 out of our 7 restaurants are on the water with their docks. People can actually, some of them can put in right there, but the restaurants are just beautiful to be able to overlook the Barren River. And then we have our lodging. We have, I don't know how many hotels right now, but we have many that are caterings, particularly for the paddling and the ecotourism. And then it was in April of 2019 that Eric Draper came down with Katie and some others of the OGT to celebrate our designation of the trail town. So this was just the beginning of it, of our designation. We just realized at that time that we needed to have a plan to going forward on how we could improve our town to make things even better. So Dana's going to talk to you about that now. Dana, are you there?
Can't hear.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm here. While we were putting together our application for the Trail Town, we looked at the description that was laid out in by the Board of Greenways and Trails, and we started looking at what amenities we had and what we're missing. And we then set out an action plan to address what was missing. And we felt we had the basic amenities that were the characteristics that would qualify us to become a trail town, and then there are other things that we could continue to expand and improve, and so we put together the kind of action plan that would be some in the short term and some of longer, the bigger, more long-term items, to take place later. But and we've just kind of been going through this action plan and checking things off in a kind of a steady manner. One thing I wanted to mention that Patty mentioned that we experienced Hurricane Irma in September of 2017, and that was kind of a sea change for the city. It was we had a change in leadership in the mayor at the same time, and I think it was kind of it turned the page for the community in many ways. That before Irma, a lot of the local businesses and the former mayor didn't really want to promote the area. They kind of wanted to keep it a secret, like a hidden gem, and they weren't that open having outsiders come in. And so after Irma and after the change in leadership, I think the local businesses really, they were working to recover and rebuild, and they were more open to the economic development, embracing promotion and really helping. And the Trail Town application and being designated, I think, really helped kick off that new interest in really promoting the area and the economic development, and all with the same interest of we didn't want to become Disney, and we wanted to keep it authentic and promote the old Florida that we truly are one of the last places in South Florida that you can come and see, the real Florida. So with that, and so with that, we're kind of working through our action plan now, and we've done a lot of these things with a lot of the businesses have made facade improvements. We've done a lot of in fact, these are some of the things we've accomplished, and I don't want to read the whole list to you, but we can go on to the slides that show some of those things. You can go next. There we go. So some of our things were the signage improvements and wayfinding, and so we had some improvements with the Wilderness Waterway, and we've also put the Trail Town shield at all of these locations too, and all the businesses that were supportive. And next. Yeah, go ahead. Good, next slide. There we go. And we've made some landscaping improvements at McLeod Park, and the Lions Club came in and refurbished the historic streetlights and lamps and added benches and landscaping. Go ahead. Okay, next. Go ahead.
I think, Michaela, I'm going ahead, but it's not moving on the screen. So
there we go. Okay. They also provided new playground equipment at the park. You can see City Hall in the background there. The park is right across from City Hall. And the old playground was destroyed in Irma, and the Lions Club fundraised and got the new playground equipment.
Michaela, I think you may need to take over. I can't seem to advance my.
It's frozen.
It's frozen.
All right, sounds good. I'll just go ahead and pull up where we left off right on my screen.
So stop your share.
Yeah, do you want me to stop my share and?
Yes.
Okay. Oops.
Can everyone see the slideshow here?
No. Sorry, mine just froze.
Here it comes. There.
There we are.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay. And some other improvements. We installed a bike repair station and the decorative dolphin bike rack at the park. Go ahead. And we've provided bike racks around town, I think about 8 or 9 to some of the local businesses and hotels and restaurants. They get used quite a bit. And one of our local entrepreneurs who does a lot of wildlife and kayaking and ecotourism, he stepped up and provided, said he'd be happy to provide bike rentals. So we have bike rentals now, which you can take out in town or up to the Fakahatchee or out to Big Cypress, wherever. Okay. Next, and the Society for Historic Preservation has installed the historic district signs around the area that's where we have all of our historic buildings. And we were awarded a FEMA grant to install new LED solar lamp posts and to replace the old historic streetlights, which were all destroyed in Irma. And the good thing about these streetlights is that they have a really good cutoff, and so all the light goes down, and it doesn't go up, and so it helps protect us because we are a dark skies community too. So you can see the stars in Everglade City, and so these streetlights work really well for that. And as part of this, we found that it's really essential that you build relationships and you work with local partners. And we have both local groups, the Lions Club and the Society for Historical Preservation and the City Council, of course. And one of the biggest improvements I think we've made is that we've increased our presence on the MPO board and the MPO volunteer committees. So Patty and I both serve on the Bike and Pathways Committee. We have our city council member who's been serving on the MPO board. And we have also some members on the Technical Advisory Committee. And Kathy serves on the Tourist Development Council, which is really important because prior to that, I think, the PDC had kind of focused on Naples and the beaches, and Kathy's been really great at helping them understand that most people come to South Florida to see the Everglades, and that, the Everglades City is always on, people want to spend a day or two down here too when they come visit Naples. So we've been more proactive in pursuing those kind of local partners, and also in pursuing grants and funding. And it's been real. We've with the MPO, we've tried to keep consistently applying for the projects, and we have I think 3 sidewalk projects lined up now, and we're just trying to keep those projects coming in the pipeline so we continue to improve the sidewalks and bike connectivity throughout town. And if you could go on to the next one. And just as an example, one of the projects we have approved now is that for County Road 29, which is the main road that comes into town and goes through the whole length, and it's a 4-lane divided roadway. And we've always thought that we don't, we have such low traffic volumes in Everglade City, we don't really need 4 lanes. And so we proposed converting the outer lane to a 7-foot buffered bike lane. So that would give us a true bike-friendly connection the whole length of town, and connect from State Road 29 out to Chokoloskee. So it's when we did get that approved, and the Carter County has that on their maintenance program now to, when they do the resurfacing, repainting, they'll repaint the outer edge as the bike lane. And you can go on, we have a photo of that next. So this is one area where illustrates where the outer lane would be converted to the bike lane, and to the sign on the right would be connecting to Everglades National Park, where the Wilderness Waterway connects. So this would provide a connection from the trailhead to the center of town, and to the whole length of town, where people could go to the restaurants and the historic buildings and all of the activities that take place there. So this is just one example of what our involvement on the MPO has done to help get these kind of facilities that we wouldn't be able to do on our own. Since we're only a town of 500 people and limited tax base isn't going to pay for major facilities. So this is one example of how the results the benefits that we're seeing from having increased our representation on some of the local boards. And with that, I think I'll hand it over to Kathy.
Right. Good morning, everyone. I am Kathy Brock and partners with Dana and Patty, although I will say that they were driving the ship and I was more of a passenger on much of it. But I am a representative on the Tourism Development Council of Collier County. And one of the things that we knew we had to do was improve our visitor information so that coming into town, it's made it very, very easy for people to navigate around town, and then also get them into the Trail Town headquarters and our visitor information center. And this is just one example that shows people how to navigate into the city. This is out on Highway 29 before you enter Everglades City. So before they get here, they can kind of get a gist of where they're going. Next slide, please.
It's there. Yes.
Okay. This is a photo just demonstrates our local residents as well as our visitors are using these trails and going around this, bike friendly, walk friendly town, and also golf cart town, going around Everglades City and down to Chokoloskee and to the outside parks. We are seeing more and more bike tours coming through here. We see a lot of people that come in and they park at our local park and they pull their bikes out and they bike around town. So it's really been very, very helpful for us from a tourism perspective. Next slide, please. This is a group that came through town. This is down in Chokoloskee in front of one of our great eateries, the Havana Cafe. And they came from Key West, stopped at Marco, and then they went to Marco, stopped at us, and then down to Key West. That would be the proper direction that they're going. So it's a nice little stopover for them to refuel and get going and continue on their way. And that just demonstrates how we really are a hub for activity that goes out to a lot of places, a lot of points reaching out from us. Next slide, please. Bike Adventure Club from Fort Myers to Key West. And they were very eager to stop here and again, see the amenities that we have. And it just demonstrates again how important it is to let tourists know, visitors, that we have these trails and that they can bike and they can walk and hike and paddle basically all around us very, very safely with very little traffic. And it's very natural. One of the points that I'd like to make during the height of the pandemic, when things were closed down elsewhere in Naples, in Marco, on the east coast of Florida, the Everglades is never closed down. The park itself may have been closed, the headquarters of the park, but the park itself is still there for people. And we were seeing an uptick in tourism during the height of the pandemic because of our Trail Town designation and because of our access to the natural beauty around us. So it really helped us survive that. And it helped, it brought more attention to Everglades City. And also it let the county know that, Collier County is known for white sandy beaches and 5-star hotels, but ecotourism is a very important part of our local tourism. And they saw that during the pandemic with we were averaging about 500 airboat rides a day during the height of the pandemic, which is a startling figure when you do the math in a little town like ours. So if anything, the pandemic opened the eyes of the public around us because of our access to trails. Next slide, please. So we get visitors from all around the world. Our summer months are very, very busy with European visitors and from other parts of the world as well. And in the winter months, we have people here from literally every state in the country and all around the world. They come here to bike and paddle, as you can see at these two cars here, and easy access. We have great signage, so they know where to go, they know what to do, and it's very, very seamless for a tourist to come into town and within a minute, literally, they are out in nature. Next slide, please. One of the casualties after Hurricane Irma was one of our larger restaurants that's right across from the headquarters of Everglades National Park Gulf Coast Center. And we did have a local entrepreneur step up, reopen the restaurant. It's now a thriving business with nighttime entertainment. And they're opening up. You can see just on the left of this picture here, it might be on the right on your side, I'm not sure, but there's a Chicky Hut, and that's actually an outside bar and eatery that you overlook Everglades National Park and Chokoloskee Bay. Absolutely gorgeous. So we're super excited that they were able to reopen. Next, please. We have seen an uptick in art and culture here. And part of what we are hoping to see is more of what you see in front of us here. That's one of our local young entrepreneurs that just painted the outside, had it painted with a mural. There's a couple of other murals going on up in town. The water tower is going to be painted, and also there's some other things that the Everglades Society for Historic Preservation has in order. This is really great for tourism. It's eye-catching. If you're on a bike, on foot, even in a car, people stop and see it, and it talks a little bit, the little theme around a little about Everglades city history. Next, please. We have access to vegetables are grown all around, especially in the Immokalee area. So we have Immokalee entrepreneurs that come into town and they set up fresh markets, and that's great for visitors. And it's also really, really good for residents. Another example, this is one of the old shotgun houses. It's a historic building, and also it's a little Everglades art studio, and that brings a lot of tourism here and supports our local travelers that are here on bike or on foot or by car, and gives them some shopping opportunities and things of that nature. Next, please. This is the current home. Welcome to the Everglades Area Visitor Center and Trailtown headquarters. This building here is the double French doors, is the current home of the Trailtown headquarters and the Everglades City Visitor Center. Prior to the pandemic, we were averaging about 1,800 and upwards visitors a month into the center. And what we do is we direct them out to the local trails and parks. So in here, we have small maps and large maps of all of the trails that are available to them. And we don't just keep them, real close to home. We actually let them know about everything that's available in Southwest Florida, so that they can spend 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, weeks doing, what they love to do, which is to be outside and, and be involved in nature. And next, please. We are in the process. I thought the bank building picture would come before that. We kind of have the slides flipped, but if you go maybe to the next slide so I can talk to it. The slides are flipped. So the Bank of Everglades building is one of the original buildings that was put here by Baron Collier. It's almost 100 years old. The building was gifted to the Everglades Society for Historic Preservation this year. I am the president of the organization, sorry for saying we, but we now own this building. We are also the organization that operates the Everglades Area Visitor Center and Trailtown headquarters. So we're super excited to let you know that that building will be the new trail headquarters once we get the renovations complete. That's a very, very grand building. It's beautiful. It's about 3,400 or 3,600 square feet. My math might be a little off. It's a very, very beautiful building, and it will give us a very large space where we can do an even better job of presenting the history and the culture and the trails that we offer here in Everglades City. Now, if you could go back one slide, please. Sorry. We just got our architectural plans, and we are in the process of renovating the building. And so this is the first stab at our layout on the 2 floors, the top and the bottom floor. The bottom floor is going to be where the Trailtown headquarters exists, and it will be a large space with a juice bar, lots of maps and interactive displays and things of that nature. And we expect to have that open by 2024-ish, we'll say ish, and we're just super excited about it. Next slide, please, or 2.
Yeah, that's it. That's the end.
Oh, that's the end.
Well, go on. Yeah, end of that one.
So there it is, Bank of Everglades. And if you look at the black and white, that is what it looked like in the 1920s. And that is what it will look like again. We'll restore the beautiful Palladium windows, the original window look, of course, with impact windows. So they might look slightly different, but they will be very, very, very close to that. And we're just making sure that we do 2 things. We preserve history, which includes preserving the beautiful parks and everything around us, and making sure that when visitors come here, that they can really get a feel for what old Southwest Florida was like, and keep some of that here. So it's not just in pictures anymore. We have that little placard down on the bottom corner saying Save the Historic Bank of Everglades building, saveboe.com. That's the website that we've dedicated to this project. Of course, we're currently in the process of grant, pursuing grants, private donations. We're looking for partnerships and any way we can to move that process along even quicker so that we can get that new Trailtown headquarters opened so it can serve Southwest Florida, especially Collier County, as the Trailtown headquarters for the area. And again, I just want to reiterate for anybody that's listening out there, one thing that became very, very obvious during the pandemic, not to beat it to death, but it is an opportunity. People want to be outside and during those times. So allocating some funding and putting time into something like this is not a futile activity. It actually kept things moving for us and it opened us up to more visitors. We've now got some new residents from Dade and Broward County that had never been here before, and they came here because of our open trails and access to the nature around us. So it's something that can really sustain you during some of those hard times. And that was really, really the learning lesson for us coming out of this. And it's really boosted our local economy. I know Patty speaks to people all the time that are here. She sees someone on a bike, she'll grab them and pull them over. And how did you hear about it? And they hear about us through OGT. They're looking at OGT, they're finding what we're doing here. And they said, wow, we never heard of you before, but we're coming down there. So we're very, very grateful that you were able to, that you saw what we had to offer. And we just want to thank you so much.
Well, of course, I know that after watching all of that, I grew up in South Florida and right on the other side on the opposite coast, and never knew for most of my life that this little gem was sitting there, maybe 2 hours away with traffic, as anyone from South Florida can testify. But really great work. And the theme that I see through a lot of the work that you've done, especially being a smaller town, is that you have repurposed and utilized existing buildings, existing trails. You really, to become a trail town and gain that recognition, you didn't have to completely start from scratch and rebuild the wheel. You looked at what you had as a city and you repurposed what you had and were able to keep the culture of your unique city. And I kind of wanted to ask is, moving forward, do you think that that's something that really helps set you apart from the local area. I know that Southwest Florida, every different area is completely different, and it's all the same almost at the same time. Like you said, a lot of people go to that area to visit the Everglades, and I know a lot of different parts of Florida want to find what makes their city or their community unique to stand out for tourism. So for the people listening who want to know how to do that, what would you recommend as far as maintaining the cost efficiency, but also keeping your local culture to keep you unique when wanting to become a trail town?
I think that's very important. And that's what I saw when I was looking at the other presentations before we were designated, that every town had their own special, unique attributes. And when I thought of ours, it was like you said, we didn't have to build a trail, or we didn't have to have, direct access right in Everglades City. We could, show our all of the things that we have to offer by just using what we have. So I think that's very important. I think no one should try to look like someone else. That, Florida has so much to offer, and it's so exciting that these trail towns are, that OGT offers this designation, because it helps you with many benefits for drawing in tourists, but it also just makes us shine. I love traveling throughout Florida. I love biking in all the different areas. And the reason I like it is that it's all so different. So don't try to imitate anybody else. Just look at your own, what qualities that your town has, and just say, oh, look, if you read what you're looking for in a trail town, you can, pick out the things that you think are the best of what you have. And what we saw was the culture, the history, and the access to all of our state parks. So that's what I think anybody should be able to do, is just look at that and look at the paddling opportunities as well as the hiking and the biking.
Absolutely.
And I think there's one other thing I could add is that you probably saw as we went through the slides that all of our restaurants are locally owned and operated, and they're unique, and they're not, no one wants to drive 200 miles to see another McDonald's. So I think that's the thing, if you're looking to promote your own local history and local character, and your local entrepreneurs who have something unique and interesting, and just evaluate that whenever you're going through the application process. Look for your homegrown stuff.
That is actually a great lead into my next question, which was going to be the fact that I know you had touched on that you get a lot of tourism from both nationally and internationally, and that you attribute a lot of that recognition and a lot of that even people knowing about coming to visit Everglades City to the fact that we do highlight on the Office of Greenways and Trails website, we highlight separately all of our trail towns, and you attributed that to the tourism. But I also wanted to ask about business venture and economic venture. I mean, have you seen a shift from when you gain the recognition of being a trail town to business buy-in, businesses wanting to be involved in the trail town community, and even just an uptick in businesses and new businesses more specifically coming into your area because of the ecotourism opportunities and the trail town amenities?
Yes, actually, we did a business development workshop early on when we became a trail town, for that reason, because after doing our research, seeing what could the designation do for us? And we researched other areas that have been designated trail towns, not just in Florida, but outside of Florida, to really get a feel for what can this do? And there's absolutely no doubt, you can specifically target an ecotourist, what they're looking for, you highlight your amenities that suit that need. It allows you to laser focus in. I'm a marketer from many years back. That was my, 30-year career in advertising and marketing. And when you can laser focus in on a target, which would be a potential tourist, it makes it much easier from a marketing spend standpoint. So when you know that you have that, and it's something that you can go after, it certainly enhances business. And we've had small scooter businesses open up. little electric scooters, for example, that use our intertown trails. We have other businesses that have added bikes, bike rentals, kayak rentals. It supports our guides that take people on the trails. So there's no shortage. And we have many new young guides that are, we're an older established area that's been guiding and fishing for many, many years. Everybody knows that. But it also has brought in some young entrepreneurs that are entering that field, and they do things a little bit differently. So it's definitely built our business base up. Because we're small, things happen maybe a little slower or at a smaller scale. But for us, no question that there's an uptick. And like I said, what it really changed for us is the summer. This past summer was so busy. Local residents were used to seeing nobody. It's calm and quiet here all the time, but in the summer, it's very, very quiet. No, it actually kept the doors open for people. So it's really been very, very, it's promising future for us. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. And we're only still 4 years from a very devastating storm. You drove into town, you'd not notice that the redevelopment has happened and new buildings are being built. And it's very exciting.
And final question is for anyone that's watching out there today, how can they help save the Bank of Everglades building if they want to get involved anyway? How can they get with you to help you with that project to create that new Trailtown headquarters?
They can go to our website, which is saveboe.com. And from there, just click contact us if you want to contact us. It links directly to our website, to our email address. And also, if people are looking for information about the organization, it's the acronym ESHP.org. That is the corporate website, or the entity's website, to talk about what the mission and goals and vision is for the future of that organization and how we're going to bring this project forward. Anything is on the table. We're open to suggestions. We're moving forward. We know we have to get this thing done. We're making renovations as we speak. And I know Patty's wanting to chime in.
Yeah, I just want to mention that we've got several fundraising events coming up. This weekend, we have the reenactment of the play, The Killing of Mr. Watson, at the Smallwood Store. This was based on Peter Matheson's book, The Killing of Mr. Watson. And it's not just folklore, it actually happened here in Chokoloskee. Right. But we're putting that play on as a fundraiser for the bank building, and that's at the Smallwood Store. You can go under the saveboe.com and look on events, and that'll list that event, which is, we have general admission tickets still available and reserved seats. So you can click on that, and that'll be at 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock this Saturday. I'm also giving a tour of the bank building for the Greater Collier Leadership Group that's coming this weekend. And then we have another event for January the 14th in Naples. It's a golf gala at the Naples Depot, and more information will be provided on our website about that. And then our Seafood Festival in February, the 11th, 12th, and 13th. Everybody, if you're familiar with Everglades City, knows of Everglades Seafood Festival. And we will also be doing something very special about that, and maybe giving tours through the bank building then. So we have several fundraising events, but anyone can contact us through the email that's on that, and just let us know if you want to help in any way at all. We're looking for everybody to come help us. So it's a community fundraising event too. So it takes a village for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I think that is all the time that we have. I want to thank the City of Everglades for a really insightful presentation. And I want to thank all of our presenters today for highlighting our Trail Town program and showing what it means to them to be a trail town. I hope you all took away some ideas of how you can implement some of these ideas in your community and make your community a more trail user friendly environment, and maybe even hopefully inspired you to become a trail town and look to become a trail town. Don't forget, we will be sending out a survey after this webinar, and we would really appreciate your feedback. We're continuously looking to improve the webinar series and bring you the most up-to-date information and bring you the topics that you feel will help you the most in your communities. We have been recording this webinar and we will be sending out the link this Friday. You can watch it anytime or share it with anyone that you think would enjoy this information. If you do have any questions or comments, you can feel free to email us at the Office of Greenways and Trails at floridadep.gov. I will go ahead and drop that in the chat box. Again, that is Office of Greenways and Trails at floridadep.gov. You can reach out to us there if you have any questions for Everglades City or the City of Deltona. We can direct you to them as well. We will also be having our next webinar January 5th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and there we'll be looking at our First Day Hikes program. We also have a new installment of our Outdoor Florida webinar series every month, once a month. It'll take place on the second Wednesday of the month, and right now we have them scheduled until fall of 2022. So definitely check out our website, floridadep.gov/OGT, and there you can register for all of our upcoming webinars. You can find all of the old recordings for our old webinars, find presenter information, anything that you would want for the webinar you can find there. I wanted to take the time to thank our presenters again and thank all of you for coming out to join us today. And we hoped you took a little time and enjoyed your time learning about our Trail Town program.